Hello and welcome to the WhyKnox podcast brought to you by Visit Knoxville. My name is Jody Collins of Feral Giant and I'll be your host on this journey. What we'll be doing is interviewing different folks around Knoxville that make Knoxville the great place it is to live. We'll have staples that you see around town all the time, but we'll also have some lesser known folks, people behind the scenes that make this a great city. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast. And if you'd like to share the podcast on social media, be sure to tag us at Visit Knoxville and use the hashtag WhyKnox. Without much further ado, here's the episode.
Hi, this is Adeem Ingle. I'm head brewer and co-founder here at Alliance Brewing Company in South Knoxville.
So where are you originally from?
Originally, actually, I was born just up the street at what used to be Baptist Hospital, but I am from Pigeon Forge.
Oh, okay. That would be funny. Now you can tell people like, I was born at Regal Cinema.
Yeah, pretty much. It's definitely a little odd to drive past and see the change.
Yeah. So grew up in Pigeon Forge. So which high school did you go to?
I went to Sevier County. There wasn't a Pigeon Forge high school at the time.
Oh, okay. That up there, all I know is the coach for Sevier County High School was the coach right before I came to Fulton.
Oh, okay.
Coach Brewer, is that right?
Yes, yeah. Well, I think he's left.
Yeah, I think
he's changed out, but pretty sure he won him a state title back around 99 or so, if I recall correctly.
God, there's so many dad jokes here. Coach Brewer, we're in a brewery. What brought you back to Knoxville from Pigeon Forge, or do you still live up there?
No, live kind of out in West Knox County right now. Came and graduated from UT around late 90s, early 2000s. Spent a long time in Knoxville and have been here all but 2 years of my adult life. I moved to Charleston, South Carolina for about 2 years and then moved back.
Well, if you're going to move somewhere, Charleston is a nice place to go. But glad to have you back. So what did your parents do for a living?
My dad was a jeweler and still is. And my mom was actually the general manager for the old mill in Pigeon Forge.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. I think I've been there a time or two. This is going to be a stupid question. Well, what got you into beer in the first place?
Got me into beer, specifically craft beer. I'd say my brother had a big influence on me there. He's about 7 years older. So, when I was finishing up high school, he was finishing up college, and we kind of got into home brewing. He got me into home brewing. He hadn't really done it before, but he thought it'd be something fun to do. So we brewed quite a few batches together back in the late 90s. And it was always something fun to do, and kind of put it to the side for a little while, but got back into it around 2008, 2009.
Okay. Back in the day, it was a lot harder to homebrew beer, correct? Like now there's pop-up stores and you can buy the stuff on Amazon, but back then, what was it like? Yeah,
you had... especially in Knoxville, you definitely had two main stores, and you really still have the local homebrew shops, which are kind of the lifeblood. But yeah, it's a lot easier to be able to get some not only equipment, but your ingredients. You can source that from around the U.S. or the world if you want to, and so many more people have done it. And of course, with the internet, you can find plans and change your system and grow it as professional rig as you want as a home brewer, and have as much fun and put in as much money and frustration as any other hobby. But there's a lot of resources out there.
I'm sure there's a lot of people thinking, yes, you can dump a lot of money.
Yeah, you sure can. It's one of those things you tell yourself, ooh, this will be cheaper if I just make it at home than buying it. And no, it's usually not the case, but especially with time commitment. But it's definitely a lot of fun.
Yeah. I'm thinking of somebody like brewing a bad batch of beer and being like, what am I going to do with 10 gallons of this peach brandy beer that I thought sounded good at the time, but now not so much.
Yeah, wait till it turns into vinegar and use it as a cleaning agent, I suppose.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
There's a helpful tip.
Yeah.
So before you kind of helped start this Alliance Brewing, where were you at before here?
Professionally with brewing, I was with Smoky Mountain Brewery for about 3 years. So
old school.
Cut my teeth. Yeah, learned learned a whole lot there. Definitely from scaling up from 5 gallons to learn how to do it at 500 gallons at a time. And learning how to do ales and lagers. And lagers aren't super prevalent right now in craft beer, but I think it's coming on. But it's they can be pretty fickle, so it was great to learn how to do that.
Okay. And how many years did you work there?
I was there from 2010 till right at the new year of 2013.
Oh, wow. Okay. And so the beer scene here in Knoxville, it seems like every time you turn a corner or you look up, there's a new brewery in town. But when you all started up, it was mainly you all, Sawworks, Smoky Mountain,
Fanatic, Downtown, Crafty opened the week right after we did, so we were right in the same boat. I think Cold Fusion had been open, and gosh, I feel like I know I'm going to leave somebody out of that time.
I'd say 5 or 6, and now are we getting close to like?
We're getting close to 20 in as far as what the Knoxville Area Brewers Association geographic region is. I think we're close to 20 members right now, and that includes Blount County and surrounding counties.
Okay.
So it's definitely growing. It's changed quite a bit in the landscape in the past 2.5 years. It's been really interesting to watch. I'm a board member for CABA, and so trying to help do things there, stick to our core 4 principles of what we formed for in the first place, to be a mouthpiece for the brewers and to also help the community. But it's an exciting time. We've always kind of been in a drought. There've been plenty of people in town that would leave, that would travel outside, make your Asheville runs, your Lexington, your Atlanta, even Nashville, what have you, to get beer that wasn't coming into the state, and different types of craft beer and lots of bootleg runs, which are fun in their own right. But to be able to have some local. To have local beer and local options at many of the tap rooms, and then also the other craft beer centric places, it's been really neat to watch. And I don't think we're hitting a saturation point yet. I think we've still got some room to grow for sure. Just as the more people that enjoy craft beer and what it offers, and especially local and quality products, people will search out as well.
It's weird going from where you couldn't even buy like Newcastle in a gas station, and now you go into like Food City and you can pick 6 of 6 different breweries in Knoxville.
Yeah.
Like, that's nuts.
Absolutely.
Like, it's crazy.
Absolutely. It's Black Horse. Black Horse was up and running too. Yeah, sorry. I was just thinking
a hanging thread. It's just dangling.
That is still in my head somewhere. I was like, I knew I was going to forget somebody. But speaking of that, there, that's what popped in my head. Like Food City pick 6, you can, the people that can and bottle and do production around town show up in those sets. It's pretty great.
Well, I know when I first got to be legal drinking age, when I guess it was Calhoun's and Downtown Grown Brewery were a novelty, that you could go in there and buy beer that they brewed there. And now, I don't know, you go over to a friend's house and he's like, oh, I made this keg of beer here. Let's drink this. I'm like, do we? Should we? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, some are better than others. I mean, it's all, like I said, it can be a lot of fun or also a heck of a hobby.
So when you're able to get outside the brewery, what are some of your favorite places to go?
To be honest, around town, I don't actually get out of the brewery too often. And as a boring answer as it is, it's usually around to other friends' breweries and to check out something new and, share ideas, have a beer, try something new that they've put on, or bring them something new, and vice versa. So, well,
and speaking of that, it seems like everybody here really gets along with one another. You all always have collaborations with like Crafty or
Pretentious was that one goes
Hexagon,
on.
Maybe
we've got one planned. We haven't had a chance to get with them.
I think it's Pretentious was the photos from Matt of you all helping load kegs.
We popped in to have a beer and say hi, and their keg delivery happened to show up, so get to pitch in and unload a couple hundred kegs every now and again. It's good for the body.
And he paid you in beer, right?
Yeah, sure.
Sure. In future beer. Future beer. We'll call that future beer.
Yeah. Back to your question, though. I think everybody gets along really well. Again, there's not a whole lot of cutthroat tap taking as far as trying to get handles. And
right.
Like I said, I think the vibe has been really good with Caba and everybody, playing well together. But yeah, the collabs are great. I love to do those. I've got one planned with Elkmont Exchange coming up soon, waiting on some ingredients to show up. And so, I always have a couple things kind of in the hopper as far as, the next thing to do.
I'm trying to think now. So for Caba, how long has that been around?
We formed that, I think, officially, and everything got voted in with, bylaws. And I think we were talking about it in... I'll have to double check. I want to say we're a little over 2 years old.
Okay.
This will be coming up, I think, third year in January.
Okay.
So ever how math works, I guess 15.
Okay.
If I'm not mistaken.
I got to go to one meeting, and it was wild because it was packed, over at Schultzboro.
Yeah.
It was packed.
Yeah. Was that the safety meeting or the annual general? As an AGM,
I think that was the annual.
Yeah.
I tagged along. Just to experience it.
Yeah, it's been good. We've been expanding the committees. So not only do we have an education committee, but we've got a safety committee as well. And so trying to do not only quarterly things, but monthly things as well. So not only to educate ourselves in the industry from the brewing side, but also the retail side, but also the customer side. So
and you've got people like Jeremy Walker of Yeehaw that's... God, he's the grand poopah or whatever you want to call him, that he's been around and seems like he's touched every facet of beer
definitely
you could touch.
Yeah, I think aside from actually brewing, but I mean, he's everywhere. He's been on the board the whole time with me as well. And it's been great to see how people have moved through the industry, but also want to give back. And it's an all-volunteer board. So to commit the time that we've done is, something we're basically doing out of the not only love for the industry, but the town as well.
Right. So you're into rugby, right?
I am,
Did that come from playing at UT, or where did that come from?
It did. I started at UT. I played 2 years at the university and then continued on to play with the local men's team, the Knoxville Possums, and played there, and then also played in Charleston. And then I semi-retired, I guess, about 6 years ago when my son was born. I just couldn't commit the time. But here at the brewery, we have the trophy case up top and behind everything there, so you can kind of see it from the angle there. So it was a bit of a traveling trophy case. It just depended on who either had a bar or was still involved in the club to put it up. So I think it's found a good home here. So
what is that scene like here? Is there a lot of people who went through like UT's rugby, or people who moved here?
For sure. I helped start. I was one of the early coaches and refs when the high school league got started around 2001, 2002, and that really helped grow the game. Not only having it in the local high schools, and then also across at a state level. That really got interest up, and we saw not only the boys and girls moving out of high school, then they would continue to play in college or even start a team if they went to a place that didn't have it. So we saw a lot of interest, and then that also carries on into the men's and women's side when you get out. So it's been really good. I think the high school scene's kind of ebb and flow. It's got its peak and valley, so it just kind of depends. It takes a lot to keep it going. You really need to have somebody involved in the school that not only sponsors it, but also has kind of their finger on the pulse of what's going on and is an advocate for it. So it really depends. We've had a lot of old boys, guys that maybe have stopped playing but have gotten back involved in it in that way too. So it's been good. And the scene's good. The men's team competes in Division II in the South. Great. So doing pretty well. Numbers have been good, and it's always good to win more than lose. So
go from one greenery to another one. I know you said you don't get out that much, but we've got a lot of parks, and you're backed up here to IAMS. Do you get out to the parks a lot?
Not as much as I want to. Taking the kids out to IAMS or going out a little bit, and then a little bit of mountain biking, but not nearly as much as I'd like to get out to the urban wilderness. But the location's great, so we've got to try and start carving some time out this spring when the weather's a little better.
So in growing up kind of in Pigeon Forge, you still would come to Knoxville regularly?
Fairly regularly. Yeah.
So you saw
East Town. I mean, as far as Knoxville, East Town, West Town.
Awesome.
Right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
That's my mall. So what do you think of the changes from when you were growing up and coming to town and seeing it, or even, to that point, everything seems to be growing. You talked about Pigeon Forge and Maryville and Knoxville. It seems like everything just seems to be bursting at the seams. What do you think about the difference from when you were a kid to where now?
Oh, gosh.
Or is it so great that it's overwhelming?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, as you add, I guess everything's relative. So
right.
It was interesting to move away for a little bit and come back. But the changes that have been happening to Knoxville, especially downtown, but over the past 10 and 15 years have been awesome to see. Yeah. A lot of community support, a lot of people not only moving down, but, the ownership that everybody seems to be taking in being proud of what Knoxville has become, and even what it was, the scruffy little city by the river. Gets told a lot, but, it's still East Tennessee, and people are proud to be here and, live here and be from it and own it. But, things have changed. I think for the better, but I don't think anything was horrible before. So right. I'll preface that. I really like what's going on. I think that, kind of the current administration and things that have been happening, definitely pro-business has helped out a lot. And just the community support, again, kind of goes back to it's great to buy local and buy quality. And right. If you don't have to, source that from anywhere, if you can get that in your hometown, then that's great to support your neighbors.
We seem to be very fortunate with Mayor O'Hara to where it's really supporting small businesses too. Like it's not just like, let's bring in no knock on Kroger. Kroger's awesome. I love the Fellini and the Martha Stewart Kroger, but it also seems to be really helping the small businesses succeed. It seems like this administration is. I think
so. Yeah, for us to get open, we had our own hurdles, but I don't think that had a whole lot to do with,
right.
The things that were set forth by that admin.
But you have great people like Patricia, who's there every step of the way. Like,
absolutely, yeah.
We want to see this happen. We want to see this happen.
Yeah, for sure. It's been good.
So, what do you think about the future, both for the craft beer scene and Knoxville?
The cheesy answer would be sky's the limit. We've got a couple more breweries opening locally and also in surrounding counties. So as far as craft beer goes, I think it's only going to get better. More choices. It's always good for the consumer.
Everyone will have their own voice. Everyone will find their brewery.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it would be really boring if we had 20 breweries and everybody made the same 10 beers.
Right.
So that's, variety's the spice of life. But, there's
rising tide
raises all ships. Absolutely. Yeah. But everybody's making quality product, then it only helps everyone else. So everybody having their own niche is great. And as far as Knoxville's concerned, I think kind of the same thing. I think we'll see more of an influx. At some point, Nashville's going to reach its peak, which I think it probably already has as far as capacity goes.
Yeah.
I think the main thing is Google needs to give us high speed.
That'd be great. That's the unofficial sponsor of this podcast.
Oh boy, that'd be great. Whatever I can do, let me know.
Yeah. Well, that's talk to your neighbor Jeff Schaffenacher of Three Bears Coffee the other day. I was like, Nashville seems to be immediate ascent. Like it's happened really quickly. Whereas Knoxville, you saying about how the change it wasn't bad before. It feels like it's just progressive and slowly going, but it's also not overwhelming.
Yeah.
And say that totally as a good thing. It's like, no, let's do this little work this little corner here, and let's just keep improving the city.
I think so. Yeah. I would agree with that totally.
So where can folks follow along of Alliance Brewing?
We're all over the social medias and whatnot. Website is alliancebrewing.com, and then you've got everything else between your Facebook and your Instagram and your Twitter, and pretty sure we have a Snapchat as well.
Oh God,
yeah, I'll leave that for the taproom managers to.
I want to see
keep up with
you
that.
with little rabbit ears.
Oh yeah, oh boy, yeah, but nobody needs to see that.
But yeah, and you all post a lot about your collaborations or food trucks. You have a lot of food trucks that come here. So
Yeah, absolutely.
Folks should follow along for that.
Yeah, we only focus on the beer, so we rely very heavily on our friends in the food truck community to provide the supper for the nights here.
All right. Well, thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.